Good afternoon all. This is Dr. Azam Chand Sheikh from MIT College of Railway Engineering and Research. Today I am going to present chemical industry and calculation of carbon footprint in this video for International FDP on Environment and Sustainability. Friends, these are some details of my past videos of week 1 and week 2. After learning through this video, students will able to recognize ISO standards applicable for chemical industry. They will identify environmental factors and chemical boundaries. They also will calculate carbon footprint and CO2 emission factor. They can also identify environmentally benign practices which are practiced in chemistry, and also they apply eco-friendly practices in day-to-day life. So when you talk about chemical industry, there are various chemical factors which are applicable to the chemical industry. Here you can see some of the factors which are applicable to the chemical industry, out of which first one is ISO 9001 2015. This ISO standard is for quality management system, the basic standard for all type of industries to make their process in line with the international system requirements. The next ISO standard is 14001-2015. This is for environmental management system. This certification helps in preventing pollution from the particular industry. It helps to establish a management system which helps to create such a system which can minimize the impact on the environment. The next standard is OHSAS 18001-2007. This is the best for the occupational health and safety practices. The next standard is ISO 45001-2018. This standard focuses towards the development of a safe and secure environment for the occupant. It helps to make sure of following the legal and statutory requirement related to the health and safety of all the people in the workplace. And lastly, this ISO standard 27001-2013 is for information security management for protection of the confidential data of the company which can be given to the customer, internally developed suppliers, given environmental by any other sources. Next, you may have several questions in mind, such as what is greenhouse gas, or what is carbon footprinting, what do you mean by sustainability, or what type of environmental impacts are there because of the chemical industry, what do you mean by carbon dioxide emission factor or CO2 emission factor. Now in this video we are going to look each and every detail one by one. When you say greenhouse gas, it can be defined as a greenhouse gas is a gas that absorbs and emits radiant energy within the thermal infrared range. The global warming is considered the most serious environmental problem confronting our world. Most climate scientists attribute the rise in average global temperature since the beginning of the industrial age to the emission of the greenhouse gases into the atmosphere by the human activity. These gases trap heat emitted in the form of infrared radiation from the Earth's surface. Now, which are the gases called as greenhouse gas, such as water vapor or carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. All these gases are included in global greenhouse gases, and this will give rise to greenhouse gas effect. Now all these gases, which called as greenhouse gases, are responsible for global warming. The emission of these gases to the atmosphere caused directly or indirectly by daily activities define the carbon footprint of any entity. Now the carbon footprinting can also understand by this. Carbon footprint is a concept under an umbrella term called as environmental footprint, and it is defined as the total amount of greenhouse emissions that come from production, use, and end of life of product or service, or it is also can be expressed something like this: it is the quantity of the greenhouse emitted by the specific source. Now, calculating the carbon footprint is a fundamental to understand how an organization or industrial activity impact on the global sustainability. Carbon footprint is a currently popular term used to express the quantity of greenhouse gas emitted by a specific source. Now you may ask, if there are so many gases involved or to be named as greenhouse gases, then why it is called as, or why these all gases contribute to the carbon footprinting, and why the word carbon is there. The word carbon is used because the most important greenhouse gas as carbon dioxide, and footprint reminds us that the activity under consideration leaves an unintended mark on our planet. In this broadest definition, a carbon footprint is a measure of the total quantity of all greenhouse gases emitted by a specific entity or process over a period of 1 year. Now when you talk about chemical industry, there are so many hazards associated with chemical industry, such as spills in the environment, or it also involves health hazard. Chemical industry releases so many waste byproduct to the air, water, or land. It also emits a lot of greenhouse gases. Now when you talk about chemical hazard, it is a type of occupational hazard caused by exposure to a chemical in a workplace. These industrial and manufacturing processes create solid and hazardous waste. Some waste contain chemicals that are hazardous to people and environment. Once these hazardous chemicals are present in the environment, people can become exposed to it. Exposure occurs when people have contact with a chemical, either directly or through another substance contaminated with a chemical. Exposure to chemical may have immediate acute effect as well as chronic effects, often resulting from long-term exposures. Now, in this slide, we are going to see various aspects of carbon footprinting. When you thought of calculating carbon footprinting or having carbon footprinted of your industry, there are various factors need to be considered. Greenhouse gas emissions generated directly or indirectly by the activities of the industry are classified as diffuse and are defined as non-channeled emissions. For example, emissions not channeled through exhaust stacks. Such emissions originate from multiple sources such as transportation, waste management, residential, fluorinated gas leakage, agriculture, livestock, and industries. Owing to difficulties in monitoring these sources, avoiding and mitigating their environmental impact is associated with a greater awareness of environmental issue. Now there are various aspects need to be considered when you want to carbon footprint your industry, such as intangible assets such as knowledge, applied research and development activities, software libraries, which result into identification of direct and indirect environmental aspects. Now this when you identify these direct and indirect environmental aspects, there are various conversion factors of greenhouse gas emissions which need to be consistent, transparent and accessible. These emission data have real-time carbon footprinting report for your research and development as well as for your chemical industry. This industry with diffuse emission clearly contribute to the climate change. So in view of the above aspects, calculating and employing the carbon footprint is a very significant, and it would well serve to promote awareness in the entire organization or industry. Next, the next step in carbon footprinting of your industry is to identify environmental aspects. In accordance with ISO 14001 standard, which includes carbon footprint calculation as a factor in assessing environmental aspect, requires identifying which aspects of activities could have negative effect on the environment. Now there are 4 various aspects have been identified, such as consumption. Here in this aspect, all the consumables such as water, fuel, energy, material used or paper are being identified under the aspect called as consumption. The next aspect is non-dangerous waste, where the waste which is produced and which is non-dangerous, such as paper or a packaging material or domestic waste. In the third aspect, the dangerous waste such as electrical and electronic equipments, batteries and printing materials have been identified. Next, the fourth aspect is eventual leakage. Here in this case, fluorinated greenhouse gases are being identified under this aspect. So once aspects are being identified, the next task is to identify boundaries. So here in this case, to identify or to determine the calculation boundaries, 3 scopes can be attributed. So greenhouse gases accounting with respect to the operational boundaries was conducted according to the 3 aspects proposed by the greenhouse gas protocol, namely scope number 1, in which direct emissions from activities owned or controlled by the organization, such as own vehicle, fuel, or the possible of greenhouse gas leakage from the cooling system can be identified. In the scope 2, indirect emissions which are associated with purchase of electricity can be attributed. In the third scope, indirect emissions from center activities or the industry activities that occur at sources outside its control and not classified in the scope 2 can be added, such as transport, business travel, hotel stay, material consumption and waste. So after identifying or after attributing various scopes, now we need to determine other factors such as selection of conversion factors, which may further applicable to the conversion factors. The conversion factor facilitate the calculation of CO2 emissions by multiple activity data expressed in terms of respective international units and converted into kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent. Carbon dioxide equivalent is the universal unit of measurement to indicate the global warming potential, that is GWP, of greenhouse gases, expressed in terms of GWP of 1 unit of carbon dioxide. Most convergence factors were used directly as defined in the chosen source. In certain instances, factors suitable factors needed to be calculated specifically. For example, use of average value when slight differences exist among the sources, such as hotel stay, rail travel, car trips, etc., etc., or using ad hoc factors that can be calculated for specific aspects. Now in these slides there are some examples of conversion factors used based on various scopes, such as scope 1 identifies consumption of fuel, where the industry motorbike or center cars are being used. In the scope 2, consumption of energy and paper are considered. These examples of conversion factor to each identified environmental aspect and related reference source are described. In the next slide, here the carbon footprint calculations generated by intangibles carefully described. Every implementation is conducted from an environmental and educational perspective, considering that environmental knowledge can foster environmental competence. So here are various aspects of environmental aspects are shown, of which the carbon footprint have been calculated, such as electrical energy, paper consumption, vehicle, accommodation, bus, flight, train, etc., etc. Now here in this slide we are going to calculate carbon dioxide emission factors. Now it is illustrated in this slide how basic principles taught in general chemistry can be used to calculate greenhouse gas emission from a variety of sources. Our attention will focus on carbon dioxide, the major heat trapping gas. Calculating its emission is an important first step in developing strategies for preventing global warming. Carbon footprint calculations require detailed information about the pollution source. A useful property to know is the CO2 emission factor of the source. This factor expresses the mass of carbon dioxide emitted for a given quantity of activity. Now the carbon dioxide emission factor can be calculated as mass of CO2 emitted divided by quantity of the activity. The quantity of the activity can be expressed in various ways. For example, if the source is an automobile, the quantity of activity can be a gallon of gasoline burned. If the source is power plant, it can be kilowatt hour of electricity generated. In the first step of Portland cement, here in this case we are going to calculate the CO2 emission factor for the cement production or this cement industry. In the first step of Portland cement production, limestone, that is calcium carbonate, is heated in a kiln to about 1300 degrees Celsius. The limestone decomposes into lime, that is calcium oxide, in a reaction known as calcination or decarbonation. Here in this case you can see the chemical reaction which is happening while cement production. After the reaction is completed, the additional inorganic components are added to the lime to produce the cement. The final product is approximately 62% of calcium oxide, that is lime, by mass. We can calculate the emission factor for the cement, such as here you can see the 1 mole of CO2 divided by 1 mole of calcium oxide into 62 grams of calcium oxide divided by 100 grams of cement give rise to 0.49 grams of CO2 per gram of cement. The result could be called as gravimetric emission factor. It expresses the quantity of carbon dioxide emitted in terms of mass of product manufactured. Although the units used to express this factor would be popular among chemists, we may wish to convert them into units more common in industrial and governmental literature. Now, this 0.49 gram of CO2 per gram of cement can be converted into the units which are widely acceptable in industry. So after conversion, it comes to 490 kilogram of CO2 per ton of cement. In other words, 490 gram of CO2 are emitted for each metric ton of cement produced. The emission factor was calculated for only a fraction of the total carbon dioxide emitted by a cement factory. Additional factors would be needed to determine the factory's total carbon footprint. They would include, for example, the carbon dioxide emitted by the fuel that hits the kiln and generate the electricity required through the factory. When all additional sources are taken into account, the emission factor rises to 700 to 1000 kilogram of CO2 per ton of cement. In a nutshell, we can summarize whole video lecture like this. In this video, we have seen what are greenhouse gases and what do you mean by carbon footprint. When you talk about chemical industry, we have seen in this video what type of hazards that chemical industry can make. We have identified various environmental aspects which are needed in order to have the carbon footprinting of the chemical industry. Then we have determined the calculation boundaries. Then we calculated the carbon footprint of various environmental aspects, and then we have seen how to calculate CO2 emission factor for the cement industry. If you are interested to know more about carbon footprinting of the chemical industry or various ISO standards which are applicable for chemical industry, this reference can help you out. Thank you very much.